Hello and welcome to today's episode of Inside the Inferno. I'm Hannah Flanagan and today I'm here with Ernie Jimenez.
Hello everyone and welcome. We have a jam-packed show filled with previews, recaps, and much more as it's been a busy week for Sun Devil Athletics.
Sun Devil football ended its stretch down south, falling short to the Raiders. Sammy Califf has more on the story.
Thank you, Hannah. The Sun Devils took another trip to the Lone Star State last Saturday. Unfortunately, the Sun Devils didn't get the result they were looking for as ASU suffered their first loss of the season to Texas Tech, 30-22. ASU is now 3-1 as they are currently taking this week to recover and prepare for next week's showdown with Kansas. Sam Levitt was 22 for 38, throwing for 282 yards. However, Levitt threw one interception in the first quarter. Levitt made up for it as he rushed it in for a touchdown right before the half. That wasn't all, though. When you're in the Wild West, you're going to need a Clint Eastwood tier Lee Van Cleef. Cameron Scadaboo had a fistful of dollars as he ran for 60 yards with 18 carries. Scadaboo also had 6 receptions for 117 yards. The dynamic duo did all they could to keep ASU afloat, but it was Texas Tech that came out on top. This week is ASU's bye week as they look forward to some tough matchups over the next couple of weeks. They have Kansas next Saturday and Utah on the 11th. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sammy. Speaking of Sam Levitt, our very own Adam Cunin has more on his performance as we look through the lens of Levitt. Adam?
Thanks, Ernie. Well, sometimes stats do not tell the whole story. This was the case for ASU starting quarterback Sam Levitt in Week 4 against Texas Tech. Despite throwing for his most passing yards in a game as the Sun Devils starting quarterback, the redshirt freshman showed signs of inexperience that contributed to the Maroon and Gold dropping their Big 12 opener. However, upon further examination, Levitt and the offense were just a few big plays away from capturing a win in Lubbock. With that in mind, let's take a look at last week's game through the lens of Levitt. Starting off with a play that will show up in the stat sheet, Levitt drops back to pass and on a 3rd and 9 is unable to find his receiver as throws an interception on the first drive of the game. Levitt, that's 2 straight weeks that he's tossed an interception. Not a great start there. Now, again, early in the game, on a 4th and 1, looking for his receiver deep. We take a look here. You can actually see that Mateer has a step on his man, so Levitt has to get that ball out and up for the receiver, underthrows his receiver. ASU would draw a flag, but that could have been a big play for the Sun Devils offense. Now, it wasn't all bad for Levitt as he was able to manufacture a scoring drive right before the half, lead the team down the field, similar to last game where he was able to lead a score right before the half, and you can see he's able to roll out, make a nice throw, and right before the half, just sneak it in for a touchdown to cut the deficit to just single digits. However, in the second half, another miscommunication between Levitt and his receiver here. You can see that he throws this off of 1 foot, rolling to his right. This would have been an amazing throw to make, but it's just a little bit too long for his receiver, Jake Smith. Upon a second look, it actually looks like this was a good throw from Levitt. Smith just lost it in the sun. An unfortunate play there for the Sun Devils. Speaking of unfortunate plays, another miscue here between Scadaboo and Levitt. You can see that his running back just runs right in front of Levitt. A little bit of a miscommunication and forces the Sun Devils to have to go for it on 4th down on the next play. And similar to the theme of the day, Levitt just a bit short of the 1st down marker. Now, let's take a look at Levitt's stats on the day. 282 yards passing, but the stats I want to focus on aren't even individual stats for Levitt. However, they do tell the story. 5 of 13 on 3rd down for ASU's offense and 0 of 3 on 4th down. Levitt has to find a way to get his team to convert in these crucial situations if the Sun Devils hope to be successful going forward. Thankfully, Arizona State has a week off with the bye, so Levitt and the offense can regroup before they return to action against Kansas on October 5th. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Adam. The Sun Devils have a short break before hosting the Jayhawks for Family Weekend. Andrew Burnson has more on the upcoming schedule.
Coming off a tough loss to Texas Tech, the Arizona State Sun Devils currently sit 0-1 in Big 12 play. The Sun Devils had a good start to the season, starting off 3-1 with key victories over Wyoming, Mississippi State, and Texas State. ASU needs 3 more wins to qualify for a bowl game. These are the most winnable games. When Arizona State returns from its week off, they will host a struggling Kansas Jayhawks football squad who has started their season off 1-3. The Sun Devils will have fresh legs from the week off and should take care of the Jayhawks, who rank last in the Big 12 Conference. 2 weeks later, Arizona State will take on the Cincinnati Bearcats in which should be a close game. ASU will be on the road for this one. Still, compared to other road games against ranked opponents like Oklahoma State or Kansas State, this matchup presents a much better opportunity for Arizona State to emerge victorious. The third key game ASU should take advantage of is the November 9th game against the University of Central Florida Knights. UCF is an unranked opponent that Arizona State will face at home. Although UCF is 3-0, 2 out of their 3 wins have come against poor football programs such as New Hampshire and Sam Houston. Look for the Sun Devils to take advantage of the home crowd and take down the Knights. The remaining schedule for the Sun Devils may appear challenging with several ranked opponents and tough road games, but there's definitely a path for ASU to compete in their first bowl game since 2021. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Andrew. As ASU volleyball continues their dominant run with a win over TCU to open Big 12 play, our John Kinney has the recap on the Sun Devils and the 12th win of the season.
Thanks, Arnie. The Sun Devils are coming off their first Big 12 win in program history by sweeping number 22 TCU in Fort Worth, Texas to improve their overall record to 12-1 on the season. The Sun Devils are led by senior outside hitter Jelly Sear, where she had a career high in kills with 19 in the win. Arizona State will continue their road trip tonight as they head down to Waco, Texas to take on number 19 Baylor. Game time is set for 5 p.m. and can be streamed on ESPN+. Arizona State has also hosted the Webb Burbridge Classic this past weekend and swept the competition. Jesse Davis has more.
Thanks, John. The number 14 ranked Arizona State Sun Devils are coming off of a dominant weekend, hosting the Webb Burbridge Classic, sweeping all 3 games where they swept Prairie View A&M Thursday, Memphis on Friday, and Montana State on Saturday. Senior outside hitter Jelly Sear led the way with 26 kills in the tournament, and her connection with graduate student setter Argentina Un was on full display, with Un finishing with 92 assists. Graduate student libero Mary Stroll led the team with 47 digs and was the anchor that held the Sun Devils up defensively. It was no surprise to most that Arizona State failed to drop a single set the entire weekend. Nevertheless, it was an impressive tournament for the Maroon and Gold, who continue to stack the wins. Arizona State had high expectations coming into this season, with the Sun Devils coming off of a third-round exit against Stanford last year in the NCAA tournament. The Sun Devils have come out strong to start the season with a record of 12-1. If they can continue to play their brand of volleyball, they will remain a tough opponent for any team they go up against. Up next, the Sun Devils take on a ranked team. Courtney DeWallaby has a preview.
Thanks, Jesse. Arizona State volleyball is set to take on the number 19 Baylor Bears in Waco, Texas tonight following their first Big 12 win against TCU. Baylor leads the all-time series with ASU 2-1 with their last matchup in 2022, resulting in a tough loss for the Sun Devils. While Baylor has been a force at home this season and just handed Arizona their first loss, the excitement builds as we see if the Sun Devils can keep their momentum going and kick off conference play with another big win. Back to you, Hannah.
Thanks, Courtney. Moving over to the field, women's soccer just had their last game on the road this past Sunday. Our Maya Hall has more on the past weekend.
The Sun Devils returned to the desert after a spirited battle with the Knights. History did not quite repeat itself. The hard-fought match result against the University of Central Florida ended in a 1-1 draw. In the first half, ASU found themselves trailing 1-0 as UCF found the back of the net. However, Anasia Colon showed her skills, maneuvering past UCF defenders to net the ball with a shot from the side, leveling the match 1-1 in the 25th minute. Both ASU and UCF exhibited intensity throughout the match. ASU created several opportunities in the second half for points, but they just could not capitalize. The Sun Devils attempted 8 shots in total, 4 of which were on goal. Goalkeeper Pauline Nels stood tall, making 5 crucial saves. The match was filled with determination from each team, so overall, a draw was only fair. Up next, ASU soccer hosts the first ever Big 12 game for any sport in school history.
Thank you, Maya. Last night, West Virginia spoiled the Big 12 home opener for ASU soccer. Our Johan Lopez has the recap on last night's match.
The Arizona State's women's soccer team hosted West Virginia in their first Big 12 home opener last night, and the Mountaineers played spoilers, defeating the Sun Devils with a score of 2-1. For the first 40 minutes, it looked like we were in for a high-scoring match, as West Virginia striked first, scoring in the 11th minute. Then exactly 36 seconds later, the Sun Devils tied the game with the Eliza Colon goal. But that's all this ASU offense provided in this game, as the Mountaineers would shut them out the rest of the way and score in the 33rd minute that would eventually be the game-winning goal. West Virginia simply had their way with ASU. They dominated possession and was controlling the tempo of the game, and they totaled 19 shots and 11 corners, which turned out to be the difference of the game as both their goals came from corner kicks. ASU defender Grace Gillards gave her thoughts about the lack of offensive production in this game.
I think we need to go and reflect back on how we build out and how we get the ball from fronts to backs. Ultimately, we can't score the goals from right at the back. We've got to get it up the pitch. So I think just seeing what wasn't working, what we can do better, and then hopefully we can sort it out and make more chances again.
It was quite the frustrating night for the Lady Sun Devils as they were simply overmatched. But when it rains, it pours, as head coach Grant Winkworth was sent off the pitch, receiving 2 yellows late in the game.
Apparently, I left the technical area, and then apparently I left the technical area again. But if I did, that certainly wasn't on purpose the second time. But I don't believe I did, but she wasn't going to have a conversation. For me, when both coaches are getting booked and one team's winning the game, talks volumes.
Although conceding 2 goals, German goalkeeper Pauline Nellis was the lone bright spot for ASU. She had 6 saved shots and was essentially keeping the Sun Devils in the game.
If it's not for Pauli, it's more than 2. I can promise you that tonight.
I think having someone like her, a great shot stopper, great with her feet at the back, we know we can trust her.
Say it every time. She's the best goalkeeper in the country, best feet.
The 6-2-3 Sun Devils will look to get back on the win column as they will take on the Cincinnati Bearcats this Sunday, looking to earn their first Big 12 home victory. For Inferno Intel, I'm Johan Lopez.
ASU hockey is in preseason mode, getting ready for their home opener in 3 weeks. They've chosen some new leadership for their season. Lachlan Matag is here with more.
Thanks, Hannah. Last week, head coach Greg Powers revealed this year's leadership group, so it's time to meet the 5 players who will wear letters for ASU. Starting off on the back end with senior defenseman Ty Murchison. In the 2023-24 season, Murchison played in all but 1 game throughout the entire year and finished the season with 7 points. Another first-year assistant captain is graduate forward Benji Eckerly. Having played his entire 5-year career in Tempe, Eckerly has been a mainstay in the bottom 6 and plays a pivotal role on the penalty kill. Last season, Eckerly finished with 5 goals and 15 assists. Ty Jackson is back for his 5th year of college hockey and will wear an A for the first time in his collegiate career. Last year, he missed almost half his senior season with injuries, but when he was in the lineup, he was part of a potent top line along with second-year assistant captain, graduate forward Lucas Sillinger. Last year, Sillinger was nominated for the Hobie Baker Award for the most outstanding player in college hockey. Sillinger was second in the NCAA for assists with 37. He also set a single-season ASU point record with 48. And wearing the C this year for the Sun Devils is senior defenseman Ethan Schmaggy. This is his second letter, and Schmaggy wore an A last year in the 2023-24 season. Last season, he led the team with 58 block shots through 38 games played. Unlike last year, there are no newcomers to wear letters for the Sun Devils. Nonetheless, this group is tasked with leading a Sun Devil team in their first season in the NCHC. ASU kicks off its season with a non-conference series in Colorado when they play Air Force next weekend. Back to you guys.
The Pac-12 as we knew it is no more in 2024, with the Arizona schools and California schools going to new conferences. But there are plans to add new schools to the Conference of Champions in 2026. Kobe Bronstein has the story.
Yeah, thanks, Ernie. It was a sad demise for the Pac-12 conference that marked the end of a long-lasting era bolstered by legendary superstars. The conference failed to secure a long-term media rights deal, prompting 10 of the 12 members to abandon ship to find new homes. So USC, UCLA, and Oregon left for the Big Ten. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah left for the Big 12, and Stanford and Cal left for the ACC. So 2 members remain. That's Oregon State and Washington State, but they won't be alone in the near future. Come 2026, these 2 Pacific Northwest schools will be joined by 5 representatives from the Mountain West Conference: Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Utah State. So that makes 7 schools now part of the revamped conference, and they're not done expanding yet. In fact, NCAA bylaws grant a 2-year grace period that allows conferences to get back up to 8 members, which is a requirement to be recognized as a full conference. The Mountain West Conference is distributing the departing schools' exit fees to the remaining 6 members, which all signed a binding agreement to keep the conference together into 2032. So there's more to be done for the Pac-12 to lock down these 8 full-time members, while schools that left like Arizona State embark on a new chapter in their program's history as the Conference of Champions as we know it lives on without them. Ernie, Hannah?
That does it for our show today. Ernie, thanks for sharing the desk. For more content, check out our website, infernointelmedia.com, and at Inferno Intel on social media.
For Hannah Flanagan and our entire crew, I'm Ernie Jimenez. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Inside the Inferno.